Let's take a look at how to use our survey application built in AppSheet. In this example, you'll see it's in English, but it can be generated in any language very easily. To use this application, we'll have three main views. The first is the questions view, the second is the surveys view, and the third is the charts view. So we'll start first with the questions. The questions will allow the administrator to create any questions they want, since the surveys will vary depending on each need. In our demo account, we already have some generic questions that can be used in any type of survey, and if you want to add an extra one, you can do so by clicking the plus icon. By clicking the plus icon, you can then enter a new question, and it can be created in any of the available question types. Text, for open-ended questions. Numeric, when the answer needs to be a number, or multiple choice, when there will be a drop-down list where the user must choose one of the three options. As an example, we can see here that for the multiple choice option, you need to separate the choices with a slash, as shown in the example. Let's say this one will be a text type, just as an example. We save it, and we can see that our new question has now been added to the list. So here you can create the list of questions that will be needed for the survey. Now let's move on to the surveys, where we can see some surveys that have already been completed. If we open any of these, we'll see the person's name, the date it was done, the email, and the questions along with their respective answers. Let's do an example. To fill out a new survey, we click on the plus symbol and add the information. For example, let's add one here. Let's put one at example.com here, and we start filling out the survey. So the survey will allow us to select the date and time when it's being filled out. We can change it if necessary, for instance, if it was a response filled out on a physical document and is now being digitized, and then we start answering each of the questions. As an example, we fill in what our age is. Let's say Juan is 30, we record that, and we can keep adding the next questions and so on. Notice that the previous question has already disappeared here since we answered it. So as we keep filling out our questions, the ones we've already completed disappear. Here, gender selection, I can select the gender and I can keep going like that. And I can keep saving and then continue with the survey later if I can't fill it out all at once. Once we have the survey information, the third view, which is the graphs, will let us visualize in a more dynamic way how the survey flow is going. Let's say that in this first view things might look a bit messy, but the idea of this graph is to be able to use the filter by questions, which will allow us to see how the flow of the surveys we're conducting is going. For example, if we filter here by age, we'll be able to see in which age ranges the surveys are being filled out. Or if, for example, we select the gender filter, the gender. If we select gender, we'll be able to see that 4 people who filled out the survey identify as women, another 2 as men, another 4 as non-binary, and 2 people chose not to say. So what this filter allows is to see in a dynamic and visual way how the survey information is being filled out. That would be all for our satisfaction survey application.